Can you hear me? Okay, hi everyone. Nice to meet everyone. So, yeah, maybe we'll just kickstart the event now. A brief introduction. I'm Kirk, I'm the ecosystem manager at Particle Network. And then Particle will provide social login as well as wallet as a service, recently exploring into the intent space as well. So, yeah, a bit of background about the event as well. So, Intents being a very new space, I think we just decided to put together some of the builders, founders that have been building in this space for very long to really kind of share their knowledge and expertise in this area. I've met a number of you guys, and you're asking, like, what is intents? So yeah, I hope that today, through the sessions today, you'll learn a bit more about intents, and see maybe you could find it useful in your project. And with that, I would like to introduce our first speaker of today, Connor of Enso.
Hello. Hope everyone's well rested from last night. So today's topic is the future of DeFi intent from a solver. If I can go back. Okay, it's a bit laggy. Does it want to work? Okay. So a bit background on Enso. Enso is a solver and CowSwap. We also offer one unified API to interact with DeFi, ranging from lending, borrowing, vaults, LPs, swapping, claiming rewards, whatever it may be. I'm Connor Howe, one of the co-founders of Enso. Topics that we're going to discuss today are what intents currently look like, intent layers, the different types of intents, and what the future of DeFi intents could look like. What are intents? We all ask the same question. It's a very new part of the industry, and I don't think we've really scratched the surface of what intents could be. For me, generally speaking, on the DeFi aspect, intents are more going from this to this, and I don't care how to get to that end position. All of the logic is abstracted away for solvers like ourselves to be able to get that end result for you. Currently, what the intent flow looks like: if I'm a user and I have 10 ETH and I want to go into a balance of position, I will submit this order onto an intent interface, such as Cow, Uniswap X, or also OneInch. Then this gets broadcasted to solvers. Solvers will then use their own solutions, whether this is arbitrage trading, DEX routing, DeFi routing, or also using their own flow, or whatever it needs, as the user ultimately doesn't care. All they care about is getting to their end destination. Once this order gets submitted, solvers will find their path, submit their pathing algo, their call data into the auction. Whoever has the most surplus and the most amount out for the user, then they will be selected to run on behalf of the user. Cow does this validation through transaction simulations on Tenderly and also our open source simulator that you can also use. Abby Dowd in a similar trade a couple of months ago tried to enter a balance of position, better protected through Cow, and this was successful. The current benefit of, let's say, where intents are: if I'm a user and I want to enter into this pool on Beefy, it doesn't work. Before intents, I would need to go to Uniswap or another swapping platform, buy my tokens, go to balancer position, deposit my tokens, take my LP, go to Aura, take my LP from Aura, and then finally get to my end destination. Even though my end destination I knew what I wanted to do, I had to go to 4 different interfaces and do 8 different transactions. With intents, you don't need to do this now. You can just specify your end destination. The future of intents can be very broad. You can do programmable intents, you can do DAO payrolls, you can do claiming rewards, you can have conditional ordering, and so forth. That's on the executional side. On the other side of intents is also how the interface presents and does the execution. So this could be text to speech, drop downs, speech to text, and so forth. Different intent types that may come. You can have explicit intents, let's say from token A to token B. You could also say, exit my position on this protocol if APY drops this percentage, move to protocol X. semi-explicit, exit by position under particular APY, and then creating characteristics of a protocol you want to enter. So this protocol could be existing for more than 6 months, has 3 audits, and can also generate this APY. So it's not as explicit, but it's got characters related to what your intent should be executing. The one that I find the most interesting is not explicit. So based upon your prior interactions on-chain, you can create characteristics and behavioral analysis of every single user and create autonomous agents using intents. So everyone talks about execution. Not many people talk about the top part of intents, which is how you present it to the user. So what actions they can do, how this information is shown to the user, and then last but not least, the metadata. If a user is making a decision to be able to declare an intent, the information needs to be shown correctly, especially if you have autonomous agents executing on the individual's behalf based upon criteria. So, for example, if I say my APY drops to 5%, then exit the position. If you're using a centralized service and they get hijacked, the APY is shown as 20, but it's only 2, then the intent will not be executed. I don't know if anyone's building this. We just came up with this. We're not building it, but if somebody is, please reach out. You see there needs to be a, let's say, a decentralized metadata service if we're building these autonomous agents and intents based upon metadata, so that if somebody says it's 5% APY, then it gets validated across all of these networks. So the user's intent does get executed properly. The other part of intents where I personally see this going is not only just tokenized position. So let's say, for example, I have USDC and I enter into 3 curve on the curve. That's called tokenized. I can transfer that token to my mom, my grandmother, whatever it may be. Right? If I take that 3 curve token and put it into a curve gauge, that's called staking. And this is associated with the address, so this is staked. Right now, most intent protocols are only focused on tokenization, whereas DeFi has a lot of state transitions, such as borrowing on protocols, staking, gauges, perps, leverage, and so forth. State transitions are not possible with DOAs. You would need to hand over your private key for a solver or a solver network to act upon your behalf to be able to do this, which is why we need to bring a lot more smart accounts into the intent space. With smart accounts, you can have executor roles to be able to execute particular call data to then get that in state for you. I don't believe we should be having this validation on-chain. I think it should be an off-chain validation with a validator network using simulation tools. And the simulation tools you could use are Tenderly and also our open source simulator. This is built in Rust on top of Foundry. So if anyone is building in the Intents ecosystem, feel free to just use this for free. It has a Docker image and you can run it next to your desk node, your archive node, and super performant. We already do state transition. We saw this coming. So anyone that's building on smart accounts, you can actually use our API off the bat to be able to offer your users more complex DeFi interactions, such as lending on liquidity that doesn't give you a token representing your interaction, borrowing, which doesn't do delegation, some protocols do, staking, gauges, claiming rewards, and so forth. This is already in production. Team at Ivor, they've done this. They combined many different actions into one transaction, and their intent was to generate as much yield for their users on the platform. This was always variable based upon the liquidity and the third APY, and let's say the infrastructure would find the most optimal route for them for this. Yeah, thank you. Very quick, but if there's any questions, let me know.
Any questions?
So basically, intent is creating like a type of a new supply chain between the wallets, the different tabs, the solvers, and this thing. Where do you think the value will accrue?
Very good question. Not sure just yet. To be a solver, some solvers are profitable, especially last year. This year, some aren't. the competition will push. The competition is designed in a way that solvers will go to the bare minimum, and maybe some solvers are already losing money on trades just to get the optics of volume. So yeah, not too sure just yet, but I know within the solver game it's very challenging to make money.
Yeah, if no other questions, thank you, Connor, and we'll move over to our next speaker.